Good morning, everybody. I am going to be making a Mr. Claus Owl. And lucky, there's going to be a second part to this. There's going to be a Mrs. Claus Owl. I'm so excited. Very excited. So, I have some people that I want to thank. They're angels. I'm going to thank them shortly. I'm going to get this started because it's going so quickly. I've sped it up so that we don't have a very long video because there is going to be a second one coming out as well. So I'm sketching on Mr. Claus Owl. It looks very strange right now, very strange, and it's going to look even stranger in a few minutes because I'm literally sketching on with white paint my idea so that you guys can see it. Usually I use pencil, but this is a darker stone. You're not going to be able to see anything. It would be a waste of time. So I want you to see me kind of like creating this in my mind and trying to put it on a stone. Boy, he looks weird. I promise you this is going to look very beautiful. Very beautiful. So I am going to need to paint all of this white because this whole thing needs to be primed, or else the color that I want it to show is not going to look as vibrant. The darkness of the stone is going to go darker when I seal it. So I don't want the colors to dull. I want it to be vibrant. So we want to start off with a nice bright white base. So that's what I'm doing here. I am going to use regular orange paint for his nose. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow a little bit later. But right now, this is his nose. And I'm going to let that dry. Now, his face, because he's Santa, he's going to have a little bit rosy cheeks. So I'm going to put a little pink and camel together mixed with white. And that's going to be his cheek color. So right in where you can see the eyes and right underneath there, I'm going to open up this space a little bit more. And I'm using a blending brush. If you have tiny sponges, those will work fantastically. But I don't have any. So I'm using blending brushes and possibly a sponge here and there, but mostly just a small blending brush. So now I'm going to, this is strange, I know, outline already in black because I want to see those feathers at the side. Those are part of his, it's going to be part of his like cloak or the suit that you see Mr. Claus wearing normally. It's going to be shades of red. So the upper part of the feathers is going to be berry wine, which is a dark red maroon color. And then the bottom is going to be apple red. And I'm just going to kind of blend those two colors together with my blending brush and make sure that there's like a nice transition between that bright red and that dark red. And that's what I'm going to do with every single feather. It's a tedious process. Make sure you're blending while the paint is wet, and don't use too much paint. You can sponge off some of the excess paint on your blending brush on like the edge of your paint palette or whatever, or on a towel. Just kind of get rid of some of the paint or it doesn't blend. It just kind of slides around. So that's just a little tip from me. So I've been dealing with a very sick kid. Unfortunately, he's been home for almost 2 weeks due to the cancellation of school because of the weather. We've actually been dumped on. He wasn't at school not just because of the weather, but school closed, buses weren't running, and he's been very sick. So he's missed like almost 2 weeks of school, and it's been very tough to say the least. We did get, I would say, over 1 meter of snow. We have more snow in a week than what we got all of last winter. All winter in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. And this is northern Ontario. So like we had a really mild winter last year. We were very lucky. It's coming at us full force this year. Like, yeah, people are begging for it to stop. So yeah, it's been a bit crazy the past couple of weeks, and my son finally went to school today, finally feeling healthy. And I finally got the chance to be able to talk to you guys. So I'm grateful for that. Um, he's sleeping, by the way, um, just so you know. And that's because he's going to be very busy very soon. He's Mr. Claus. So he's sleeping, and this is pretty much the extent of the eyeballs, the eyeball situation, luckily. I did blend a little bit of shading underneath that dark area, which is just to kind of outline where his eyebrows would be, I guess. That's where his head begins. So I've shaded under there using a little bit of black and white together. Very, very, very simple shading. And then I lightened up the eyelids. I kept his cheeks a little rosier. And now I've made his beak, I guess. I called it a nose a few times, but that's what it's supposed to be. A beak, and I've made it a little bit bigger than what we originally started with. I've also outlined a mustache area and a beard area, or a goatee area. And now I'm filling the rest in with white feathers that are going to resemble a Santa Claus beard. So that's what I'm doing there. I am going to fill it in with white, another layer of white, and I'm going to thin out some of those black lines because they were very thick in some areas. It's best to wait till this is dry to do that. But I am going to be adding in some shading and some slightly darkened white. I'm going to add a little bit of black to a bunch of white. So there's going to be a slight tint of gray in some areas. And you're going to see like texture from the paintbrush, which is good because it's supposed to be feathers and it's supposed to be a beard at the same time. So we are good with seeing the texture from the paintbrush. That same goes for the red feathers. I will be putting gold veins down the feathers on the red feathers, like veins from a leaf. You'll see that soon as well. But I want to finish his head, and his hat still needs to be primed with white before I can even start it with the same shades of red that we used in his feathers. But I'm going to put bright green here. As always, the paint colors will be listed in the description of the video. So far, I've named off all the colors, and you can decide what colors you want to make yours. It's up to you. That's more of a dark green, which is called thicket. And then his hat's just going to be white and red in the berry wine and apple red colors. It's going to look really cool when it's done, I believe. There's the gold. I'm not going to outline everything in gold like I usually do, but there is the vein, like it's a leaf, but it's really feathers. But this kind of makes it look like leaves, which is kind of cool too. But that's just to give his suit like a little bit of fanciness to it. I like it. So now all of these have to be separated. So we're outlining them again. We outlined them earlier before we added the red, and now we're outlining everything after to clean it all up and separate it from the stone and separate those feathers from one another. And it just helps to stand out a lot more if you outline it. I want you to keep in mind that this stone is going to get very dark when I seal it with resin. So it's not going to look gray anymore. It's going to kind of look like a black marble. Sorry about my chair squeaking. I apologize. I want to thank a couple of angels that have been there while I'm shading and messing around with his beard. I want to say thank you to Janet, Valerie, and Colleen. I'm not going to say anyone's last names. But you have all recently donated to my PayPal. and I've already thanked you personally, Colleen, for your donation, because I'm luckily friends with you on Facebook as well now. So I've met some amazing people through this channel, and through my career, and some of you have helped me more than family and friends. So I just want to say thank you to all of you for donating to my channel in that way, donating to me, to my boys. Helping me out at this time is crucial, because I can't even open my Etsy shop right now. We have a postal strike going on, and honestly, the costs to use a different provider to ship are outrageous, and I've been working with Canada Post for so long that I get deals with my shipping, and yeah, it was really hard for me to ship out the last bunch of rocks because I had to use a different provider, and it sometimes costed me like 3 times more than what it normally does to ship. So it hurt me. I had to put my shop in vacation mode, and right before Christmas, like, is brutal. So for those of you who have helped me in that way, I'm so thankful. My kids are going to be very thankful. There are presents under the tree because of you. So thank you. I appreciate it. And anyone who's ever donated through my PayPal, thank you so much. You all are just an amazing, caring, giving. You rock. You all rock. You're amazing. So thank you. I did end up giving him some eyelashes, just little ones, and I've added some texture to the pieces of his beard using a little bit of light gray, some shading. I've outlined his head parts, his green feathers. I've also added black toe beans, but those black toe beans are dry now, and now I'm adding orange, which is just like an easier way for me to outline his toes without outlining his toes. If you know what I mean. I make the black still show so that it looks like they're outlined in black. You know what I mean? So now that the hat is primed, I'm able to actually paint it red. So I'm starting with that deep berry wine color. Same with the feathers, deep berry wine at the bottom, I guess it's opposite from the feathers. I started with the deep berry wine, and I finished with the light colored red. Now you can put a couple of layers of that on until you're happy with it, or do what I'm doing and just kind of smudge it all together until I think it looks okay. Then I will outline it, because it looks kind of fuzzy after you blend and stuff. It just doesn't look very clean and crisp. So I will outline it in order to crisp it up. That's the Rachel's Rocks terminology. We are going to make his hat fuzzy though. On the white areas, there's going to be a white pom-pom, and it's going to look like fluffy down feathers because he's an owl. We still want to keep the Mr. Claus aspect of him, but we still want to keep the owl aspect of him. So yeah, we're going to use my fine lining brush, and we're just going to wisp on some white. Just going to go crazy. You can slow this down and watch to see what I'm doing, but I'm literally just going in all different directions really quick, like flicking the paintbrush really quick so that it makes little tiny fuzzy hairs. And in the end, it really does just look like a fluffy down hat brim. Welcome to Rachel's Rocks University, where we really just learn to have fun with paint. No real terminology. They're all made up words, because that's the way we are, and I like it. So you make your hat as fuzzy as you want. Like I said, there's going to be a small pom-pom that's going to be fuzzy just like that as well. Not too big, because I still want to add a couple of snowflakes, I think. So I'm not going to make his pom-pom too big. I put too much paint there, so I took a little bit off with a Q-tip. And now I just added more, which, you know, that's just the way things go. But now I'm able to spread out some little hairs. And I'm just going all the way around the circle to make it look like it's fuzzy, just like the hat. Keep going until you're happy. And ta-da! Fuzzy hat. You do what you want with it. It's totally up to you. So I'm going to do some snowflakes. They're going to be simple. I'm going to start with a center dot, which I'm probably going to put a Swarovski crystal in during the resin process. About 6 hours in, I'm going to add like a shiny little crystal just to the center. Nothing too much. And I don't have much room on this stone, so there's only going to be 2 snowflakes. I did the stars like this in the recent tree video and mushroom videos. This is how I do stars as well, but we're going to change this into a snowflake by adding some dots to it. So I'm just going to do center dots, and then 2 on the top and bottom, 1 on the middle left and right, and then 1 on the end of the diagonal X in the center. So you can slow it down and watch. Just super simple. I don't want to go all out. Just very dainty, you know. But they're pretty, but they take up a lot of space. So I have to water down my white paint a little bit, just a little bit. I add a little bit of water and mix it up really good, and I just kind of thin it out a little bit in order to make my lines really thin and really crisp. So that might be another hint for you. Because orange is usually a very transparent color, same with yellow, putting it on top of black, it kind of dims down a little bit. So I let that dry and I put extra coats of orange on the toe beans. And now I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to his nose, and then I'm going to resin him because he's ready. I think he's ready. So I'm going to resin him, and then you're going to see him all shiny. And you're going to see a sneak peek of Mrs. Claus Owl, which is going to be the next video. So I like to get bad news before I get good news. I'm going to take you for a little walk. Now, this was a couple days ago. This was last week. We've gotten a lot more, and I will take newer pictures, more recent pictures in the Mrs. Claus Owl video. But this is what life was like last week. Now let's go inside where it's warm. He is shiny. He is glossy. He is Santa Claus Owl. Isn't he beautiful? He is so shiny. And the colors are really bright, and he looks beautiful. Look at, there's crystals on the snowflake. The stone is like very dark, but he still looks gorgeous. I wanted to see him in front of my tree at night. He looks just as gorgeous. Now I am going to give you a sneak peek. Don't get upset because the next video is coming out. But there's Mrs. Claus Owl. Sneak peek. Little fuzzy. I love you guys. Thank you for hitting that like button. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for donating to my PayPal. I love you all. Mrs. Claus is coming up right now. I'm uploading it as you're watching this one. So 2-in-1 for the day today. I love you guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.